Donald Trump has been crashing out all morning long, threatening to blow up all of Iran's power plants, oil wells, Karg Island, and desalination plants if the Strait of Hormuz isn't opened immediately. Earlier this morning, Donald Trump posted, "The United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalinization plants, which we have purposefully not yet touched. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the old regime's 47-year reign of terror. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump." So Donald Trump threatening very serious war crimes in this social media post, threatening to remove all of Iran's water supply, to kill all 90 million people in Iran, threatening to destroy all of its electric power, also to kill all of the people in Iran. And then Donald Trump, of course, lies and says he's having productive negotiations and he expects a deal to happen soon because Donald Trump is yet again trying to manipulate the markets. And the Iranian leadership said they're aware that he's doing that. Everybody should be aware, and that they're not involved in productive discussions with Donald Trump at all. Iran has set forth its main non-negotiables and says that they're not going to talk about giving up the Strait of Hormuz. They're not going to talk about giving up their ballistic missile or Shahed drone supply. They also want to make sure they get full reparations for the war. They want to ensure security guarantees for themselves, for Hezbollah, for their Shiite militia groups in the region, including those in Iraq and the Houthis. And they want an apology as well. And they want the United States military bases removed from the region. Although Donald Trump also trying to manipulate the markets with a call into Bloomberg earlier, saying Iran wants to settle. The war is going well, unbelievably well. Of course, you know that's not the case. The United States and Israel continue to bomb Iran. Iran continues to retaliate, striking its neighbors. Iran successfully hit a oil refinery in Haifa earlier this morning. That's in Israel. You can see right here the Haifa oil refinery that was hit. It's on fire. The Iranian social media channels posting photos of the direct hit there. Also, we've seen Iran launch missiles striking facilities in Kuwait and key infrastructure in Kuwait, Bahrain, the UAE, Saudi Arabia also in the past 24 to 48 hours as well. I'll tell you what's not going well. In addition to Donald Trump's unlawful war against Iran, Donald Trump's poll numbers are just a complete and utter disaster. The latest YouGov UMass Amherst poll has Donald Trump's overall approval at just 33%. Total. It's about to dip into the 20s, folks. On a lot of issues, Donald Trump has, net negatives of like net negative 47 on inflation, net negative 36 on tariffs, net negative 31 on jobs, net negative 25 on immigration. He's below water on basically every single issue by massive amounts. On the issue of U.S. military involvement in Iran, only 29% of Americans approve of Donald Trump's unlawful war against Iran. Iran also just continues to mock Donald Trump. Their social media accounts, like the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting Network social media account, posted the following: Iran has indeed responded positively to Donald Trump's threats, and we've reopened the Strait of Hormuz, though only for 2 Chinese oil tankers. And they just keep on mocking Trump over and over again. As Donald Trump says, we're dealing with a very reasonable regime. Talks are going very good, everybody. Things are going great. Really, really great crew we're negotiating with. There's no negotiations taking place. And the Iranian leadership continues to post images like this. American soldiers are dying for Israel. Iranian soldiers are martyred for the homeland. Death without cause versus eternal life with dignity. The U.S. soldiers are killed in a war for Israel. Iranian soldiers are martyred for their homeland. A meaningless death versus an eternal life with honor. The Iranian embassy posting images like this. They, referring to Americans, are hammering the nails into their own coffin, and it's a coffin with an American flag draped over it. They also posted, this is the Iranian embassy in South Africa, one of the main social media arms of Iran. They post, the U.S. enemy still has not learned that Iran is system-oriented. The sacred flag of Iran will never fall, and one self-sacrificing defender will be replaced by another until Iran reaches its goals, just as the Strait of Hormuz has remained and will remain closed to Iran's enemies. Take a look at what some world leaders who were previously allied with the United States, or I guess they're allied in name only with the United States. What do they call, like a rhino, like Republican in name only? This is like an INO, an ally in name, an ally in name only at this point, because Donald Trump has attacked all of our allies at this point and pushed them away with trade wars against the world by going to war with Netanyahu against Iran without providing any notice to our allies, by attacking NATO, by propping up Putin, and I can go on and on, but you get the point. Italy's defense minister, Guido Crosetto, on Iran war said the following: "We do not support this war, and no one asked for our opinion. The length of wars does not depend on the power of the strongest, but on the resistance of the weakest. Iran is larger than Ukraine, has more people, and thousands of years of history." He went on to say that the information that he is privy to is catastrophic, that he's not even able to share publicly regarding what's going to happen to the world economic system in the next few weeks and the next few months. He says that his proximity to this information based on the job keeps him up all night, keeps him up all night because of the catastrophic consequences that are about to take over the world. And he has described it almost as like when COVID started spreading from the east and then it quickly kind of took over. He said, he sees the writing on the wall of the global economic catastrophe that's unfolding, and he sees pure and utter calamity, and it's basically keeping him up at night, he says. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz says the effect of the Iran war on Germany and Europe will be as serious as COVID-19 if it expands, as it continues to. Meanwhile, according to a report from the AP, but then as confirmed by Spain's defense minister, Spain has reiterated, always from the outset, that it's closed its airspace to U.S. aircraft on a mission to strike Iran. This follows Spain's decision to not allow U.S. to use bases at the Morón or the Rota air bases in support of strikes a few weeks ago. Spain's defense minister, Margarita Robles, confirmed Monday that their government has banned U.S. military aircrafts involved in the Iran war from its airspace, as well as air bases across the country, which include the strategically important Rota and the Morón Air Force bases. This was made perfectly clear to the American military and forces from the very beginning. Therefore, neither the bases are authorized, nor, of course, is the use of Spanish airspace authorized for any action related to the war with Iran, Robles told reporters during a press conference on Monday. So Donald Trump then sent Marco Rubio out to do his dirty work, and Marco Rubio was like so frantic this morning, as he always is. He was like, this Iranian regime, they're lunatics. They're insane. They're crazy people. They're religious zealots. You and the Trump regime may want to look in the mirror as well, because you're also describing yourself right now, Rubio. So Rubio says that first, and then thereafter Rubio's like, but they're reasonable, okay? We're dealing with a reasonable group of lunatics and insane religious zealots. So first, let me show you Rubio saying, these people are lunatics. They're crazy, I tell you, they're crazy. Here, watch this clip.
These people are lunatics. They are insane. They are religious zealots who can never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon because they have an apocalyptic vision of the future. And all of their neighbors know that, by the way, which is why all of their neighbors have been supportive of the efforts we're conducting.
And then Rubio says, but look, we're talking with people who are pretty reasonable, okay? And the people who we're talking to, they're saying things that we haven't really seen in a while. So things are going well. He's making all this up. Okay, all this is just complete and utter lies. But you can listen to what he has to say just so you see the frantic nature of all of this. Play this clip.
Seeing if they're the ones that have the power to deliver. We're going to test it. We are hopeful that that's the case. There are clearly people there talking to us in ways that previous people in charge in Iran have not spoken to us in the past. Some of the things they're willing to do, some of the things they're saying they're willing to do. Obviously, they have to go do it. We're going to test that proposition very strongly because we always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy.
And then, because Monday is always market manipulation day, and there's really no one else in the Trump regime who has any know-how about anything, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave his normal arrogant, "I think things are going great. Sure, if this war ends, the Strait of Hormuz will be controlled by Iran. For a little bit of time, they will have a tolling system. World leaders will have to now pay Iran for passage in the Strait of Hormuz. But in the long run, we'll get them. We'll get them, I tell you." And watch this bizarre appearance by Bessent. Let's play this clip right here.
Go through on a daily basis as individual countries cut deals with the Iranian regime for the time being. But over time, the U.S. is going to retake control of the straits, and there will be freedom of navigation, whether it is through U.S. escorts or a multinational escort.
As noted, Iran has been able to continue on its pressure with its Shahid drones, ballistic missiles, FPV drone swarms, striking neighboring Arab nations that are housing American military bases and American interests. Kuwait once again confirms that Iranian strikes hit their power and water facilities after the U.S. and Israel hit power and water facilities belonging to Iran. Kuwait's Electricity and Water Ministry says a service building at a power generation and desalination plant was struck on Sunday, killing one worker of Indian nationality and causing significant material damage there. You can see the satellite image over here showing fires at two pumping stations at the Habshan Fujairah oil pipeline, which carries crude from Abu Dhabi to the port of Fujairah, bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. So what it appears Iran is doing is they're targeting alternative export routes used by U.S. allies to avoid the Strait of Hormuz. One of the tactics that Iran is also using, it's what we've said and predicted that they would do, Iran is carrying out a deception plan in the skies over areas like Dubai and elsewhere, costing the United Arab Emirates around $100 million, perhaps more. So Iran is launching missiles equipped with flare decoys, fireworks, which then kind of spread out, and they prompt the air defense system of Dubai to kick into gear. And this is the U.S. supplied, the U.S. bought, systems, these Patriot and THAADs. The systems themselves are hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the aggregate. The interceptors, each one's like a few $1 million, $3-4 million. And so we're sending multiple interceptors at a time, say 5-6 interceptors, sometimes more. Just say sometimes there's 6 interceptors, right? $4 million a piece. You're talking about $24 million. Just say, you even did more, $30 million that are being sent to strike fireworks, basically. And then Iran uses the decoys, draws out the $30 million, and then they'll use their actual ballistic missiles or actual Shahid drones and FPV drones. When Ukraine visited the Middle East and struck these deals with Arab nations, they met with Qatar and UAE and Saudi Arabia and others. Ukraine was like horrified to see how these Arab nations were working with the United States to use all of these weapons in the complete wrong way, because Ukraine's developed its system of interceptor drones and other ways to deal with the Iranian drones, because Iran's been supplying Russia with the drones in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And so Zelensky saw this, and Zelensky's like, what the hell are you doing? Have no one been paying attention at all to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and how Ukraine's been using drones against Russia, and how Iran's been using drones with Russia against Ukraine, and Ukraine's interceptor technology and the way warfare occurs in 2025 and 2026? Like, have y'all not been paying attention and been the least prepared Donald Trump's the least prepared. I'm not going to show, the clips of Trump because I don't want to show him this morning anymore. But last night on Air Force One, he kept on showing the ballroom and the Corinthian columns and how he's going to build a bunker under the ballroom and the ballroom's going to be so beautiful. Just very odd. Very, very odd. And Donald Trump also told Israel's Channel 14, we're already taking control of the Strait of Hormuz. It's already happening, folks. Like a miracle. It's all going to go away. Dude lies about everything. Every word out of his mouth is a lie, and it's a dangerous lie. And here's the big problem. If the war ended right here, right now, right today, we would still have to now be dealing with the massive supply shock of crude oil, of LNG, liquefied natural gas, of helium, of fertilizer, of the petrochemicals, that are from the region. There's so much stuff that comes from that region, and the supply shock is so severe that even if it ended today, the ripple effect would be massive. And it's not ending today, and it's not ending anytime soon, despite Donald Trump continuing to lie. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. For real, I want to try to get to 7 million together. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.